Right. Okay. Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this webinar on email marketing, and specifically looking at ClickDimensions and how that works with Microsoft Dynamics CRM or Dynamics 365 and the CRM module, however Microsoft wish to describe it these days. My name's Mark Britton, and on the webinar today we have Dan Gadd, and I head up the marketing for Crimson. I've been here now for a good 5 years, and I know in that time we've worked closely with the ClickDimensions team, and we've been a Microsoft partner for a good while now. It's really our intention to help customers get the most from their investment in Microsoft, and that's why we're kicking off these a series of webinars specifically around ClickDimensions to share with our customers how they can be using not only Dynamics CRM, but really harnessing the power of email and all the other tools that come together within the ClickDimensions package. So hi Dan, how are you?
I'm good, Mark. How you doing?
Yeah, very good, thank you. We're enjoying some fantastic weather in the UK at the moment for a nice change. I don't know where you're based in the US though, so.
Yeah, sure. So I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia, and it's either hot or hotter here. So right now it's hot, so it's nice.
Okay, that
Yeah.
sounds good. Okay, well, what I wanted to do first of all is just remind marketers about the power of email. I think this chart illustrates it quite clearly. I mean, this is a survey of marketers across business to business and business to consumer, asking them how to rate the effectiveness of various channels. And you know, there's lots of there's been an explosion of different channels that you can work with these days, but actually good old email marketing has been around for a long time now, but it still remains one of the most effective ways of marketing to your customers and prospects if done correctly. And that's what we really wanted to talk about today as part of this webinar, to share some best practice. Just in preparation for today's webinar, I wanted to have a look at what the open and click-through rates were on average across all industries, and this is a survey of about 1.5 billion emails that have gone out from small and mid-sized businesses in the UK, and I think this survey was conducted at the end of last year, and they compared it to the previous year, and so open rates haven't changed, maybe by a 0.01% over that last 12 months, and it stayed fairly flat for a good while. Click-through rates have actually gone up. The number in brackets there was from the previous year. Unsubscribe rates sort of hover around 0.5%, and then click to open rates around 11 or 12%. It's still a really effective way of getting your message out to the right people. So if these numbers don't compare favorably when you're looking at your own numbers, then it's worth considering perhaps how you can tweak your own methods of using email. And I do have some tips towards the end of today's webinar after we've had a demonstration, just to give you some quick ideas to get your email marketing working more effectively with what you've got today. But we're here to talk about ClickDimensions. So what I'd like to do, and I'm very rusty using GoToWebinar, but I'm going to hand over to Dan now so that he can share with us the wonders of ClickDimensions.
Absolutely. So perfect.
Okay.
So I'm pulling my screen up right now, so y'all should be able to see that, which is great. And we can get started here. So let me just make sure I'm showing you the right. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so what we're going to focus on today, it's pretty much we're doing the first of a 3-part series. So we want to keep it short, keep it easy, and really highlight some key features of ClickDimensions. So one thing I do want to preface is ClickDimensions is a marketing automation tool. It's not just an email marketing tool. That being said, what we're going to focus on today is email marketing because it is a cornerstone. It's a starting point for that. So we're going to start on that piece, and we're going to drive through the email marketing, the send, the statistics, and really what I want to emphasize and for you to notice is that's all going to stay right inside of Dynamics. So the added value and the added power of this is ClickDimensions is going to allow you to quantify that marketing data a lot more regularly, a lot more at your fingertips. So from a marketing perspective, you can improve the effectiveness of the email marketing piece that we're going to talk about today. But from a sales team perspective, they can in real time see what's being opened, where they're clicking on that email, so that if a salesperson was going to call contact, they can go and say, hey, how you doing? Let's talk about email marketing because you clicked on the link for email marketing, whatever it might be. This is great for, it's pretty industry fluid. So I think from a traditional sales call to currently in the education sector, universities use this to guide conversation around areas of study for prospective students. So you can really use this in quite a lot of manners. So if somebody in the company wants to say that you don't do any marketing, it won't help us, I'm going to respectfully disagree with them. But that being said, let's get started here. And so, like I said, what we're going to focus on today is just this email marketing piece. So creating the template, the send, the statistics, how we can relay this back to a CRM campaign entity. And again, it gives that full schema of email marketing reporting. And that's gonna be your first taste of it. If you want to see a full demo of ClickDimensions, definitely reach out to Mark or anybody on his team to schedule a demo with us. We're happy to do a full hour-long session going through all the features of ClickDimensions. One thing I do want to highlight real quick, and we're fully native inside Dynamics. We're the only marketing tool that's native inside Dynamics, meaning you don't have to push or pull data out of your CRM. As far as a global presence, obviously, as you can tell by my accent, I am not based in the UK. That being said, we do have a London support office, as well as we have one in Den Haag. So we are running support 24 hours a day in conjunction with obviously Mark and his team, guaranteed under 2-hour response times. So we're definitely a global company in that respect. I just enjoy way too much getting up early, so they let me work with y'all. So we'll jump into it, and I'm going to pull up my production environment. So you are going to see the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, and that's the beauty of working in my live production. So when we log into Dynamics, we are logging into ClickDimensions. So it is a single sign-on. So if you hit that drop-down tab, you have ClickDimensions right inside. So we're going to do a quick tour today, just so that everybody can get an understanding of where we are. So you can see the analytics here. So this is our web tracking, forms, survey area, and we'll get into that in another session, or if you want to have an individualized demo. We also have the email marketing area. This is what we're going to focus on today. So how to create the email, send it, the statistics, talk about subscription management. On that note of subscription management, ClickDimensions as a data processing vendor is fully GDPR compliant. So now,
yes.
Because of that, I know GDPR is a curse word in most people's language right now, but so we are GDPR compliant as a data processing vendor. So it is up to you to follow your best practice. I believe Mark and his team does have some guidance around that, but at the end of the day, if it is up to should we do this, should we not do this, I do suggest seeking legal counsel on that. But from a data processing vendor, you can sleep well at night knowing that we are compliant. So again, we're going to focus on the email marketing piece. The other add-ons that we have and bits that I'll talk about in other sessions, both text messaging, social posting, campaign automation, as well as event integration. So what we'll do here is we'll start with email templates. So ClickDimensions has 4 different kinds of email template builders. The one I'm going to pull up today is a drag and drop editor. Reason being is if you're not comfortable with HTML or you don't want to use HTML because it's time consuming, drag and drop is going to be your best option. It's very easy to do, drag text image where you want to. That being said, you do have a block editor, which is pre-made areas inside the template where you can right-click and upload content. A freestyle, this is similar to a WYSIWYG, so toggle between text and image and HTML. And then last, that custom HTML editor. Write that HTML and generate that email template. Now, what you'll notice here is we have this drag and drop 2.0 beta. So ClickDimensions does rolling monthly updates. So last month we added this into beta. This will replace the drag and drop that we're going to look at today. If you see this on your current ClickDimensions license, it just means that there might be a bug in there still that we're working on. Once it's completely rolled out, you won't see beta anymore. So again, we're always adding an update to ClickDimensions, which is really quite nice. But I'm going to open this up. This is my play area. It is not pretty. I am not a marketer. If you saw Mark's drag and drop editor, it's going to look completely different than mine. That being said, we have a variety of layouts we can start with. And then from that, it's just a matter of adding content. So we can drag in an image, open up our image manager, and you can pull from certain folders, whether it be for certain themes or campaigns that you've done in the past. We can also upload an image here, and then we can go ahead and select one, hit OK. It'll add in there to be proportional and clear. So very simple to do. We can also drag this to a smaller area, and it's going to adjust to be proportional and clear. So very easy to move around and manipulate. This is definitely built for anybody who has no HTML knowledge. To give you a little background on myself, I like to tell this story. I came from a background with zero technology experience, and I mean zero. So prior to being with ClickDimensions, I worked for my family business, which was a produce broker. Essentially, we bought and sold potatoes and lived on a phone and a fax machine. The furthest thing from CRM and a marketing automation tool out there. That being said, I was able to be proficient with ClickDimensions and learning CRM within a month of being at ClickDimensions. So it's very easy to pick up and very easy to use. And I want to reiterate that just because at the end of the day, when you're putting softwares in, there is uptime, and we're aware of that. There's training times and things like that, but we want to keep it as small of an uptime as possible because uptime costs you, your company, revenue. So again, we have quick uptime with that between Mark and his team, as well as ClickDimensions support, training, and onboarding. We'll get you up and running as quick as possible. So with that being said, as we're going through this, you have a variety of editing tools. So one thing I'd show is the resize. If I adjust that height to say 50, it's going to adjust that width for us to be proportional. So very easy to move around and manipulate. You also have a variety of hyperlink options. So anything from a website URL to a PDF file. We can also link phone numbers. So ClickDimensions is entirely mobile responsive for emails, forms, and surveys. So you can actually put one-click call through phone numbers in there. So if you're in the education sector and you want to have recruiting administrators phone numbers in there, you can do that. Sales reps, whatever it might be. It's going to make it convenient for your contact to call you. And then beyond that, and this is what I really want to focus on, because ClickDimensions is native inside of CRM, it's going to set us apart from every other marketing solution out there. Because we're native inside of CRM, any custom fields that you have Crimson put into your CRM database, we can actually update those in real time. We can also pull that information into dynamic content. So from a GDPR perspective, subscription management is fully compliant. You have the option of subscription management. Now, I believe, from my understanding, and I could be wrong here, but I believe my best interpretation, you want to give as many options of opt-in, opt-out as possible. Because if you want to communicate about something specific, your contact needs to be able to opt out of it. So you can create your own custom subscription management lists. If you put those fields in the contact record, it will update them in real time. If you do not, and you still have the suppression list, so as people opt in, opt out, it'll put them on the proper suppression list, so they only receive emails they did not opt out of. Again, fully GDPR compliant, allows them to opt in and opt out. It's up to you as best practice to put those fields in, or I should say subscription management options in. So again, something to talk to Crimson about, and I can definitely go into more detail on this on a full demo as well. Beyond that, we also have our dynamic content. Dynamic content is very easy to use. So if you haven't used marketing automation previously or don't have too much experience, when using marketing automation, if the tool is not ClickDimensions native inside of CRM, you will have to push that data out of CRM, upload it into another platform, then use their tags, and then send it out. It adds an extra 45 minutes to an hour of just migrating data out. It's a lot of time delay, a lot of headache. It doesn't mean that everything's going to get in there in no time. With ClickDimensions, very simple, very easy. It's done in 10 seconds. So if I go and hit this little person icon, you have these 5 different entities: owner, lead, contact, account, or email sent. Within those 5 different entities, you pull any field that you have on those entities, whether it be custom or standard. So if I grab that first name, add it, in 10 seconds or less, you are now pulling the coding for the first name of anybody in that contact record. Obviously a very simple example, but it's going to be effective. Be able to personalize it without having to export any data. I'm going to take this and we're going to turn it on its head a little bit and make it a little more complex. So what we can do is actually change the content of an email based upon what we call a dynamic if statement. So I'm going to do an example based upon gender and language. That being said, you can do it based upon, if you're in the education sector, you can do it based upon study interest or job title or gender or location or whatever it might be. But So in this case, we're talking about Spanish speakers and their gender. So if the recipient is Spanish and speaks and is, if the recipient is Spanish and is male, they're going to receive this content. If female, they're going to receive this content. And if we don't know their gender, they'll receive this content. You create one long email and it will filter based upon those rules so that the end contact that receives the email will only receive the content that's relevant to them. So it's going to save time having to build multiple scenarios and templates. I do work with South Africa as well, and one example that I like to use is they obviously have English speakers, they also have people who speak Afrikaans. So they'll create one long template, same template, just one written in English and written in Afrikaans. Depending on the language preference on the contact record, it'll filter it to whatever the language might be. So it's really quite nice there.
I think that's a really powerful point there, Dan, because again, reading from some of the stats from some of the key marketing sources, that personalization, one, it improves open rates and specificity. It really can improve your marketing performance. So that's a really powerful feature.
Absolutely. So, and again, this is something that Crimson can definitely help with the setup on. They have some really talented people in there with ClickDimensions, so really quite nice. And so while we're on this is our freestyle editor. So you can see the text image on one side, toggle it, and you can see the HTML that you can edit on the other. Very simple to do. We can also check the inbox preview. So once we're happy with the template, we can see what it looks like on a desktop, mobile, and web-based client. This is going to take a second to load for me, but when it does, it'll show me exactly what those are going to look like. So again, like I said, we're in a production environment. You're going to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. So it might take a second to load, and then we'll go from there.
Just while we're waiting for that, if anybody does have questions, just put them in the chat box. I'll pick them up and I can direct those to Dan.
So we're going to let that load just for time purposes, and then we can also run into a spam filter. And that spam filter is going to tell us whether it passes the platform or not. If it doesn't, it's going to give us a spam score and tell us what we can do to reduce that spam score. So it's two great ways to test to make sure the highest quality email is going out. And then from that, to actually create the send, it's very simple to do. So if I go into the email sends, you don't have to leave CRM to make this happen, to actually send the email. So you can either go ahead and create a new draft, or you can open up a current one. So again, we're staying inside of CRM here. The first thing you're going to do is choose your email template. This is essentially a search bar of all the email templates that you have, and save it, lock it into place, add subject header, pre-header text. We can also associate to a CRM campaign. So if you're using CRM or Crimson has shown you CRM campaigns is a big thing when it comes to actually recognizing closed opportunities and really starting to get a full understanding of that ROI. With ClickDimensions, every piece of ClickDimensions can be associated to a CRM campaign. Emails, forms, surveys, landing pages, campaign automation, whatever it might be. So I'm going to actually open up another tab here, and I'm going to pull up a CRM campaign because I want to show you that data that goes back in there in real time. So if I go into campaigns here, what I can do is I can go into this campaign automation, or I should go into this CRM campaign, and we can see ClickDimensions data related to it. So this was a ebook campaign that we ran based upon a form that we had on our website, and then we ran it back in 2016. You can see all the automations that we've run against this, and this is ClickDimensions functionality. You can see the forms that we put on the website for this campaign, and then you can also see the visits by month. So you can start to see some related information to this campaign. So you can see the visits related to it, as well as the posted forms related to the campaign. So we can see all the contacts and leads that are being submitted on this CRM campaign, as well as we can see the leads, whether they're qualified or disqualified. So if they're qualified, we can actually see who qualified those leads. So it's starting to prove that ROI and quantify the marketing effort. We all know, and I'm sure Mark knows this as well, for whatever reason, marketing is always the last to get hired and first to get fired. Don't know why, it's unfortunate, it's the way it is. Where they're going to go hire their salespeople, their C-level management, their administrator. They go, oh yeah, maybe we should do some marketing. And then as soon as that sales team doesn't have enough leads, or say they don't have enough leads and they can't close enough revenue, they blame marketing. and then marketing spends the next 3 days trying to prove themselves. I'm sure that sounds very familiar, Mark.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So what we're doing here is we're going to expedite that process. We're going to say, no sales team, you're completely wrong. Here's all of the data. Here's your leads. We brought in 500 leads last month. This is your fault, not ours. We want to quantify that, spin it on their head, and show it in real time. So that's what's really the beauty of these statistics in the CRM campaign. So I just want to highlight that. So going back into the send, you can choose who it's going to come from. So choose from whether it come from the record owner or not. So for example, if Mark receives an email from me and it's a marketing email for partners, most likely I didn't send it. My marketing team sent the email. They marked it to come from the record owner. Because Crimson is my account, all emails that go to Crimson would come from me. If not, mark it as no, have it come from one specific person. You can also set up a reply to email address. You can have it send immediately or schedule the date and time. I'm going to use Mark again as an example. If I want to send an email to Mark at 9 a.m. local for him, there's not a shot I'm getting up at 4 a.m. to send it to him. So I'm going to schedule that in advance.
Dan, just a quick question on that. So
Sure.
I may have misheard that. So when you send an email, are you able to associate that with the owner of the contact record? So in other words, if Joe Blogs is the owner of a contact, then it will come from Joe Blogs.
Correct. So,
Yeah.
for example, Crimson, I own the Crimson account, right?
Yeah.
Because in Marcira. So if you receive an email from me and it's a marketing driven email, I didn't send it. My marketing
Yeah.
team sent it, marked it as from record owner. So you received an email from me. Now, my colleague who owns a different record, it would come from her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, and we've done some tests with that, and it's again, that's a very powerful feature. If it's coming from the contact that has the strongest relationship with that individual, then you often get better open and click-through rates.
For sure. So, absolutely. So yeah, it's really, it does save a lot of time, especially if you're coupling that with the dynamic content. And then beyond that, you have your marketing list. So you never have to export data out of CRM. And I say it a lot. I'm going to say it again. You never have to export data out of CRM. Rather, you create your marketing list inside of CRM using the CRM Advanced Find. You can add as many marketing lists as you like, both dynamic or static, come from lead or contact records. And then from that, you also have A/B split testing. A/B split testing is very powerful. Definitely something to use if you're just getting into what works for your company as far as effectiveness of open rates or click rates. So you can test two different strategies, the subject header, who it's going to come from, or two different email templates. So if I test the subject header here, hit next, I can scale this, say 10% of version A, 10% of version B. The remaining 80% of the marketing list receive the most effective version, and we can have it send out automatically or not for unique clicks or opens, for hours, days, or weeks. Great way to make sure the majority of the marketing list receives the most effective version. So again, really powerful there as well. So the last bit we're going to cover today, and we're going to keep it under a half hour as promised, and that way we can leave time for questions or anything Mark wants to wrap up. We're going to talk about statistics from a particular send. So once we've sent the email, we want to see those statistics, and that's the name of the game, right? So today what we're going to look at is the statistics from a send itself. In our next session, we're going to try to bring it together as far as from a contact record, the web tracking, the forms, all in one area. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pull up a email. So I'll pull up our partner newsletter that we sent out, and we can start to see some raw statistics here, which is great. And so you can see all these different pieces here. You can start to see the web visits related to the email, the form submissions related to the email, if there are any surveys. You can also see the finished email. Again, way prettier than what I put out there as an example. Now, with that being said, it's not the prettiest statistics in the world right there. So what we've done is we've added an email statistics tab. This is fantastic. We added this back in, I think, November of 2017. Every email you send out will have this generated for you. You don't have to do anything with it. Again, the name of the game is making it easy. So you can see your success rates, the percentage of interaction. So you can see we have a 25% success rate on this email, bounces, unsubscribes, click rates, open rates, hard and soft bounces, as well as a split test. So just to clarify, a hard bounce would be an invalid email address. Soft bounce might be full inbox, something like that. So you get an overall idea of how effective that particular email was. We can also go in and see what clients people are opening on. whether it be Outlook, iOS, is it desktop, is it mobile. We can see conversions. So start to measure that ROI, KPI metrics. How many website visits are related to this email? So you see we have a few here and 11 total form submissions. We also have a click heat map. It shows percentage of where people clicked in the email, what was effective, what wasn't, as well as we can see each individual recipient and how they interacted with the email. And then lastly, we have this click report. I love this piece. It shows you each individual link in the email, the unique clicks and total clicks on each individual link. And if I go in and click on one of these, it will show me each individual person clicked on that particular link in the email and how many times they did. So it really tracks everything down to that granular level for you. So it's really quite powerful. And that's kind of where I'm going to cut off today, just because I wanted to really focus on those different pieces, how to create the email, how to create the send. You can see within 25 minutes, or 25 minutes or less, we were able to go through all those different features. So imagine creating that yourself. You could have everything in and out in under 45 minutes if you wanted to. Very, very simple to do. Those statistics start coming back in real time. And then in the next session, what we're going to talk about is kind of bringing this together. So how this piggybacks with the web tracking, also how you're going to bring in those leads from the forms and really understand those statistics and how we can drive that through campaign automation. So I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to let Mark wrap it up. And go from there.
Thanks very much, Dan. That was fantastic. A real whistle-stop tour of the email functionality in ClickDimensions. I mean, one of the things that strikes me and that we've had success with is how we can take the lessons from, say, an email because somebody's clicked on something. Are you able to then take that data and maybe create a dynamic list of people to then follow up with within CRM? Is that functionality?
Yeah, so that's
possible?
actually going to be a combination of, in that particular scenario, that's a combination of ClickDimensions and Crimson helping with it. So you're going to need a CRM workflow in that particular scenario, because if somebody clicks on something in the website or on an email, whatever it might be, it's going to track that information against a contact record. Say it's a particular web page that you want them to do, create a CRM workflow to add them to that dynamic list.
Excellent. Okay. Well, what I'd like to just wrap up with, and any comments on any of these, Dan, just in terms of how ClickDimensions might be able to enhance some of these. I thought I'd leave you all with some quick tips on boosting your email performance today. Perhaps you're using something like MailChimp and it's not integrated into Dynamics, so you may be struggling with that kind of integration piece, but you want to do something today to make a change. Just a few tips. So one that we found just from statistics that we've seen is that you get a better open rate if you try sending on a Tuesday. These aren't hard and fast rules. It's always worth testing, but it's worth giving that a go if you're hoping to improve your email performance. If you use the word thank you in the subject line, you can get a higher than average rate. Just on the timing of emails, Dan, is that I'm assuming that's something within ClickDimensions you can schedule emails and set timings, can you?
Absolutely. So I went over it really quickly, and I apologize, but there is the ability to set the date and time that you want it to go out. The date and time is set for your CRM's local time. So, for example, if I sent a email at 3 a.m. My time, it's going to be 8 a.m. your time that you receive it.
Great. And I know that, I mean, it talks here about the subject line and putting thank yous in. I know that I've had success with personalizing subject lines, whether it's the name of the person or maybe the company or something similar. Again, I'd imagine that the integration with ClickDimensions and CRM means that you can add that twist of personalization that you wouldn't be able to do so easily without that tight integration.
Absolutely, yeah. So you do have the dynamic content that you can add to both the subject and pre-header text.
Great. Email etiquette's a big factor when people decide to open and respond to your messages. The biggest faux pas is grammatical errors. I don't know whether there's any kind of spell checking tool. I'm putting you on the spot here now, Dan.
No worries. So unfortunately, we don't edit your grammar. You will get if you spell something wrong on the editor, you will get a little
Okay, well, so I think that's just a, yeah, you've still got to double check everything. I think that's always important with email. Open rates tend to be better in the mornings, between 6 a.m. and 11 a.m. Some have found success sending after work. So again, it's worth testing the timing of your emails, and that goes back to Dan's point about how you're able to schedule out of office hours if necessary. Um, HTML is good, and it can be useful if you're developing a brand and you've already got a relationship with somebody. I mean, I know we've used it when we've had events where we've wanted to invite people to the event, and then there've been follow-up emails, and we've included the branding of that event as part of that follow-up. But actually, don't forget the power of plain text emails. They can actually be just as powerful, more so in certain circumstances. So it's worth considering that. And then finally, recipients are more likely to open an email if it's part of a segmented campaign. And I think, again, that goes back to Dan's point about being able to build up lists and sort of divvy up emails and create a sequence. So that's where I suppose marketing automation really comes into its own, Dan.
Exactly, yeah. So we'll definitely go into that marketing automation piece, and kind of we'll talk about how based upon form submissions where you're going to start targeting a little bit more effectively, and then it really is quite unique how the interaction, the individual links of how they interact, you can target them with different emails, and it's really going to start driving more relevant detail to the, or specifically relevant detail to that individual contact.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, so that's it for this week. As Dan mentioned earlier, this is a series of webinars that we'll be running. The next one is around social media. As marketers, the first to get fired, and certainly the ones to have to justify marketing spend and effort. Proving the value of social media is that one of those things on our task list. So we're going to be looking at that next time and seeing how ClickDimensions works with social media, and again pulls that together into that unified view within Dynamics CRM. If that's something of interest to you, we invite you to join that webinar. We will be sending out some emails with the links for the sign up form shortly. So that's on 3rd of July, so a week today at 2 p.m. So we'd love to see you there. My name's Mark Britton, and if anything that you've seen today is of interest, you'd like to organise some demonstrations, or you'd like to get Dan involved in that, or we've got our team here that can help, give me a call, send me an email. I'll be happy to chat with you about that and explaining a little bit more about what ClickDimensions can do more specifically for your business. So thank you very much today. Thanks a lot, Dan, and we look forward to seeing you all soon. Thank you.